So, yes, good afternoon. Thanks very much. Quite nice to follow the talk about the Crannog, as someone that helped thatch the original Crannog in the mid-1990s. It's very good to see it rising from the ashes and being successful again. So we're going to talk about prehistoric and post-medieval features at Letham Grange in Arbroath this afternoon. And yes, so as we all know, that the magnitude and frequency of floods seems to be getting more and worse these days, and Scotland is no exception. So the Brothock water that runs that drains from the sort of west and northwest into and through Arbroath has been flooding very badly recently, and has its own flood prevention scheme now. Part of that was a very large sand dam that was created to regulate the flow downstream, and the sand was quarried from one of the nearby fields, and that's where the archaeological remains were. So there's Arbroath on the left, and the site is the red dot to the northwest, where the dam was. So we're well upstream from Arbroath, but that was a good place in the catchment for it. So the dam is on the right hand plan. The dam is down just below where it says Brothock water. Just above the minor road, and around where the blue dot that says Antler Find Spot was. So there's the sand dam, a very large construction, and all, as I say, quarried from one of the adjacent fields, which is just to the left of the photograph here. Now the initial peat removal from that area was done without supervision, and that led to the discovery of this deer skull and antlers, which was fortunately recovered by the contractors, and that was later dated. The dates are there, but that's around 10,000 years old. Moving on to the sand quarry site, that's on the left-hand plan. That's the area in red. The orange dot on the left is Lonehead Barrow, and there's also scheduled crop marks just to the north of the plan there, and an enclosure and an unenclosed settlement. So obviously you've got this whole area is just lovely sand, hardly a stone in it, but the sand itself is only a couple of meters deep, and it shallows towards the north. No, I don't think the contractors quite appreciated how thin the sand was overlying sort of silts and clays below. So they had to constantly extend the site in order to get the required amount of sand. And that led to us uncovering a whole series of extra features, all under watching brief conditions. So on the right-hand side, there's you can see the sort of centre of the right-hand side. There's a roundhouse there with lots of pits around about it. So that's one of the sites that I'll be mentioning mostly. And the top left, there's a corn drying kiln, which very well preserved, and we'll be concentrating on that as well. And there's also some linear boundary ditches, which were undated, but but predate the rig and furrow, which is a very, very wide rig and furrow, sort of 10 to 13 meters in sort of wavelength. Typologically that would be medieval, although we didn't date it. But we're obviously when you've got rig and furrow in sand like that, you don't need drainage really. So you can make your furrows wider than you would otherwise. So that's a list of what we found there. Presumably they did realise when they were putting the roundhouse in that they were spanning the boundary between pretty soft sand and much firmer clay silt, but that's where they put it anyway. The vast majority of the post holes were cut into sand. So, great photograph by the drone. You can see the plenty of dump trucks around the edge, which give a good idea of scale. The roundhouse is along this sort of southern, midway up the edge, closest to us, the corn drying kiln is in the distance, just before you come to the trees. All of the area on the left has had the sand removed, and you can see the standing water in that area where the contractors have got down to the clay silt, which didn't absorb the water in the same way. They were moving from left to right, and so that's where we were. That's where the way that we excavated all the features as well. Right, there's the roundhouse. You can see there's two different ditches which they don't meet, but they show that they would define circles of around 15 and 17 meters in diameter, and there's a probable porch facing southeast. Some of the post holes cut other post holes, and you've got a scattering of nearby pits as well, including one right at the top there, which cut the ditch. Presumably there's been pit digging going on in that area after the roundhouse went out of use. The other features to note really are the ones at the bottom on the left, where you've got another four-poster, although not actually a square, with a sort of stony feature just above it, 163 and 164, if you can see the numbers there. I did say I wasn't going to mention context numbers, but anyway, now that is a positive feature. So with upstanding stones, so it just shows that even in an agricultural field like that, in a place like Arbroath, it is possible for upstanding stone features to be preserved, which was quite a surprise, and probably also suggests that a lot of the negative features nearby aren't that badly truncated by the plough, and therefore probably were never a great deal deeper than they are now. So there's the roundhouse post excavation on a nice sort of sunny evening. That's the pit in the foreground, which has been quadranted, cutting the ditch. Examples of two post holes, not very big at all, but with some quite nice packing stones still there. And that's two of the three stony features at the entrance. No post holes in that area at all. Just patches of or deposits of upstanding stones. They might have been dispersed a wee bit, and some of them could possibly have been post pads, but yeah, the structure of the entrance certainly wasn't apparent. But given the scale of of those features on the southeast side where the entrance should be, they probably are associated with a monumental entrance. And there's a reused saddle quern, which was included in the stones. So the ditch on the left, you've got the southwest side where it's cut into sand, and as you can see, a very insubstantial feature, and you certainly wouldn't think that that was caused by any sort of drip erosion or anything like that. And on the right side, the ditch, the other ditch, the one with the smaller diameter, which had a different profile, but that's one that was cut into the much more compact clay silt, and you can see in the foreground there where it's cut by that large pit. So 10 dates were recovered from post holes associated with the roundhouse, and so yeah, 2nd to 4th centuries BC for those. And the features just to the southwest of it. So on the left, the stone feature. When that was uncovered, I thought that was quite likely to be a kist, but once it was excavated, there was no evidence for any sort of function. Certainly no bones. I know the sand around there is quite likely to be quite acidic, but we still don't have a certain function for that, but you can see on the right hand side, you can see the spatial relationship between the sort of irregular four poster, and it's worth saying as well that that the post holes there, you can see the scale at the bottom right, which is 300 mil. Those post holes forming that four poster were the most substantial post holes on the whole site, much more substantial than any of the ones around the roundhouse. So that four poster was potentially quite a monumental structure. Moving on to the souterrain, corn drying kiln, sorry. Which is a type 3 as defined by Robert Rickett in the mid-1970s, and extremely well preserved, with the round bowl and the flue facing the prevailing wind west-southwest. Only one feature associated with that, as you can see, which was just a small pit, not apparently a post hole. Yeah, the internal features in there are not very clear on there. They're clearer over there, but we're on the televisions. But within the wall of the bowl, there's some sort of paving in the centre, and then just out between the central paving and the circular revetment wall, there's two low wing walls, which are what you'd assume the metal grid or whatever was used to keep the corn above the level of the sort of circulation of heat that would have rested on those walls. But there was no evidence for what type of material that was. So view up the entrance, the flue. You can see that the whole thing is cut into a natural sand bank, which a very typical location for a structure like that. On the left, well, on both of those photographs, you can see a large stone sort of propped up on the left side of the flue, which that could have been to block the whole structure off when it wasn't actually being used, or it could possibly have been used to regulate the flow of air into it while it was in use. On the right-hand side, the basal stones in the flue were reddened with heat and exfoliating. And lots of you can see the orange, probably peat ash in there. So that's certainly where the fire was. Notable that there wasn't any wood charcoal recovered from that kiln at all. And a view of the bowl, half sectioned. The upper part of the fill is all basically subsoil, so that's from the top down to the middle part of the red section on the ranging rod, and then below that there's a thick layer of collapsed turfs, which probably from the roof, and then at the bottom there's 6 inches, 150 mil or so of interleafed lenses of burnt seeds and other sort of plant macrofossils. And then the structures at the bottom, you can just see the wing, one of the low walls, between the side wall nearest to the camera and the natural sand in the base. And there's a stone disc without a scale there, but that was just about the only find from that excavation. So artifacts. It is artifact poor. That area. And that site was artifact poor as well. So there was one of the pits had early prehistoric pottery from 5 different vessels and hazelnuts. There was also a small assemblage of post-medieval to modern pottery, mostly from just to the northwest of the area that we excavated, and on the first edition map shows a building and a small enclosure in that area. As I say, just outside the excavated area. So some of that pottery would probably be associated with that. There were also a few, quite an interesting assemblage of coarse stones and a few flints. The paleo-environmental assemblage, especially in the kiln, very good indeed. So thanks to our Maori Hasti for that. Lots of interesting weed seeds, especially, and evidence for what she calls mash lamb, I think it says, where different types of cereals are being grown together, and there's a selection of charcoal as well. And overall, the artifacts and the ecofact assemblages support the radiocarbon dates. So the main takeaway from this site is that, I mean, we know Arbroath and Angus generally are one of the core areas in Scottish prehistory, but nothing was actually known on this site before, despite how good aerial photographs are in the Angus area. We weren't expecting to find anything, but well, having said that, yeah, you never expect to find nothing in a place like that, and we did indeed find some very interesting features there. So thank you for that.